So I'm just setting up the live stream. Please bear with me. So we're just about there. Excuse me. Okay, so we are going to carry on with the live stream journey in Flight Simulator 2024. In the break between the last live stream, I went and got my multi-engine and instrument ratings, which weren't too difficult at all. The multi-engine was straightforward, actually. It put me in a Diamond DA62, is it? And it simulated an engine failure during the test. So I didn't do any of the training, I just jumped straight into the test. Simulated an engine failure, so you just had to fly on reduced power basically for the rest of the circuit and bring it in and land it, and it gave me pretty much top marks for doing so, which was good fun. So we're back down to 80 credits, having spent all of our gains. So in order to afford to do anything else, and of course we're looking straight out towards things like the ATP license or the jet training license, so we've got 40,000 credits needed, or 30,000, or turboprop is 20,000, which takes us towards turboprop airline or jet transport pilot. So we want to do all of them eventually. Notice I'm not going the rotary wing route. We're going out this way. I don't know why I don't have the affinity with helicopters. I just don't. I can't see the point in focusing on them, and each to their own. There we go. So I've not done a night currency yet, so we could do that, I guess. So 7,500 credits needed. So we'll need to do a couple of missions to earn that amount of money. So let's go and have a look. So having unwrapped some of the other accreditations now, I have the ability to do live weather on flights, which has changed things slightly. So let's go and have a look and see what we could earn on any of the flights. Bearing in mind we know we can speed time up now, and we know we can ignore the rectangles in the sky, which are still, you know, nice to see, but they're not needed. Okay, so we can rewind time as well. So even though it's on live, we don't get a bonus for live, I don't think. So you can choose to, and yeah, it often does that. It throws up an error saying I can't find any live flights for that time window. I'm just looking to see if there is any better money involved for anything. 2,300 credits, that's not much, is it? Are there any night ones? I'm not night certified yet, though. Is it going to let me do this? Ferry flight. And it's moving it back to daytime. So it's doing live weather, but not live time. So we'll just jump in and do a few of these missions, shall we, just to get started. So we'll do a ferry flight and see what comes up on the list soon to see if we get any better paying flights. Because all we're really doing is chasing credits now. But we have discovered if we do things more accurately, then we do get better payouts. Contract, 2,390 credits. Ensure aircraft integrity, and we need to make sure we do a nice landing, basically. I did discover on the recent flight I did that they sometimes underfuel the aircraft, or you have to be careful to lean out even if you're below 3,000 feet, which was news to me with the simulator, or with the, with the career mode. If I had not leaned the aircraft out, even though it didn't tell me to, I wouldn't have made it to the destination. So I ended up leaning it out beyond the optimum performance. I was saving fuel for the second half of the flight. Okay, so we're going to be in the DA62 again. Not a problem. I know the aeroplane fairly well. Let's turn the head tracking off to do the push around. The walk around. How close do we have to get to these? Okay. And there's a pitot cover over on the wing over here. Okay, let's remove the pitos and remove the static port cover. Where have they hidden it on this aeroplane? It's around at the back. Okay. Let's just check the sound, because I didn't have the sound on the previous couple of flights, and yeah, I wasn't aware until somebody shouted at me. So Shift C gets us in the aeroplane, and Alt 7 will center up the head tracking, and we can go and have a look at the plan. Okay, so we're going to take off and follow the route around. Looks like an IFR type flight, doesn't it? So we could take off and just go straight for autopilot, really. So it shouldn't be too difficult. So electrical master on. And we've got the landing lights and so on up here. So we'll go and put the position lights on straight away while we're on the ground. And go and see about how have I got the controls mapped. So, okay, it's gone for 2 engine, which is fine. But I'm not quite happy about how that's working. I'm going to go and have a look and see what it's chosen on my throttle quadrant. So yeah, I haven't got the controls that I really want. So I want basic. Now, you don't get to choose propeller speed in this, do you? It's all automated in the DA62. So I'm going to go for basic 2 engine, which will give me an engine per throttle, but with the axes working correctly, hopefully. Let's have a look on the stick, make sure I've got the basic stick set up correctly. That's correct, that's fine. So let's come back. So I've now got that working, and they work throughout their run. Yeah, so you don't get propeller control, which is fine. Make sure the parking brake is working. Yep, that's working. We're not going to skip anything because that will take money away from us. So we're going to go through and do things ourselves, which is fine. So just waiting. The avionics power will have to come on for everything else to work, but we're going to start the engine first. So master on the right engine. And we have the right engine running. You can see the power coming up over there. Master on the left engine.
Appreciate your help today, Cap. It's Jane here. Today's lucky bird heading to Duxford is this charming little DA62. Now that it's repaired, the owner needs her aircraft flown back to a field near her place. Mrs. Bird, the owner, is expecting you at the destination on time. Fly safe, pilot.
So we'll just wait now. We've got the avionics on. Here we go. The radios are coming up. We'll just have a check around before we start taxi, just to make sure we've got everything configured correctly. I think it's all good. You get warnings here. Obviously, pitot heat will only do once we get to the runway. And we'll have a little look at LittleNavMap, which is free. I like to illustrate things that are free on the channel rather than use payware things. So set that as our departure. And where are we going? Let's go and have a look at our flight plan. We're going to EGSU. So let's go and do a search for EGSU and set that as our destination, and now we can see it on the map where we're going. Okay, so we're doing this a bit more correctly then. Would control equals a penalty? I'm not sure that it does, but I'm just doing this out of habit because I like knowing what I've done with the aeroplane. So we'll press comma to set the barometric pressure because it's using live weather now, obviously. And we're going to press enter to announce taxi.
Echo Golf Tango Delta Traffic Diamond Golf. Bravo Tango Echo Juliet is taxiing to runway 25.
So if we have a look outside, we can see it's setting us some taxi. It's a very short taxi, isn't it? So I've come off the parking brake. So we're just following the instructions to make sure that we do what it wants us to do.
Echo Golf Tango Delta Traffic Diamond Golf. Bravo Tango, Echo Juliet, taking off runway 25 departure to the north.
We have to be careful not to go too fast on the taxi. It would help if that tablet wasn't there, really. So we can go and... I'll wait until we straightened up on the runway. Oh, it needs us to taxi right the way down the runway. And if we taxi too fast, we take away from our score. So we've got a very boring taxi down the runway to get to runway 25. So looking at the compass, look, we need to go all the way down, turn around. Which is slightly annoying, but it does give us time to go and get rid of the tablet. I don't know if you can move the tablet off the windscreen or not. Not sure if you can do that. But you can taxi faster on a runway, I think, without penalty. So I'm going to open the throttles up a little bit. It's still complaining about pitot heat, but we're not going to do that until we turn around at the other end. And then we'll put the landing lights on as well, and the strobes. So we're taxiing, 30 knots. It hasn't told us off. So as long as you're on a runway, you can taxi quickly. Obviously, you need to factor into that how quickly you can stop. Yeah, I've only discovered by accident that you can taxi quickly on a runway. It's only on a taxiway that you get in trouble. So before we roll off the end of the runway, I'm going to slow back down to about 12 knots. I don't think... You have to get to this waypoint. It's ridiculous, isn't it? We could turn around and go from the piano keys. I'm just going to gently trundle up to follow the line so we don't get to any penalties. Enough, because we have to hit the trigger for it to turn around and say, yeah, look, it's saying now we've gone far enough. And now we get to take off. So once you're in the sky, I think you get to the initial point. You just have to hit the waypoints. The rest of it is completely up to you. So let's put the landing lights on, the strobe lights on. Flat out down the runway. I think these planes are made by Coronado, so we can't overstress the engine. So gently pull back. Gear up. We still haven't done the pitot heat, have we? Climb to 650 feet, and then it will give us instruction for the right turn by the look of it. Looking at the GPS track, about 160 degree right turn. And it's taking us left though. Why would it do that? Again, it's not judged at this point. It wants us to climb to 1700 feet. So we're going to ignore what it's saying and go to 1700 feet in a right turn, which is closer to the track. We're going to take no notice, and we'll go and have a look at the settings on the way and turn off the rectangles because they're just a pain in the backside. There's Duxford. So we wanted to, I can't remember what the cruise altitude it said was now. I don't suppose it really matters. Is it 2200 feet, something like that? So this is a G1000, but it's a slightly different version of it. that the buttons are on the navigation display. It's kind of right-hand drive, which is interesting. So we'll go autopilot mode. We'll go and set the heading for the direction we're going for the moment. And you can see we're off to the left of the track because the track is over there. But if we go heading bug and just turn across the track, we'll come in closer to it. So we're coming up to 2200, altitude has stabilised down. Let's have a look at the engine gauges. Let's just pull the engine away from maximum. Get it fairly near equal on the throttles. Make sure we haven't got any flaps or gear, that's fine. And we'll just wait until we intercept. And then we'll go nav mode and it will follow the GPS track. So while we're doing this, let's go and turn off those rectangles because they're a pain in the arse, aren't they? Sorry for the language. Flight interface. Where is it? I haven't got any of those on. Assistances? Is it in assistances? Helicopter, no. Gyro drift, no. Taxi ribbon, that's useful. Okay, I'll just leave them. We'll just take no notice of them. So we're within 1 dot now of the track. So nav mode on the autopilot should kick in now. It's going GPS and heading mode at the moment. We'll leave it alone. There it goes. It's just captured. So it's turning right to establish the CDI in the middle of the HSI. So course deviation indicator in the middle of the horizontal situation indicator. And we'll line up the heading bug while we're at it. The direction, we'll also go into PFD options and show the wind with option 3, which shows us a vector and a speed. And you also get this lovely track diagram when you're in the track, showing the GPS track as rectangles that you're flying through. So ignore those ones, but keep an eye on these ones because those actually represent the track across the ground. We can press flight plan to get rid of that flight plan off the display as well. And we may as well just have a look at the map. So we've got an ETE, estimated time en route, so about 20 minutes. We can speed that up by speeding the sim up. So press Alt-R and plus. So if we've done it 3 times, we can watch the nautical miles tick down, and this will not penalise us, it turns out. So we can watch the horrible weather whizzing past. Now I'm instrument rated, it's throwing the world at me, isn't it? I think that may be the trigger for allowing you to have live weather. Someone's saying settings, assistance, flight path. Let's go and have a look. Settings, assistances, flight path is off. It's obviously showing it for the mission. In normal use it wouldn't be appearing, but because it's a mission it is appearing then. It's good to know. So I've done 3 pluses on the time acceleration just to make this a bit quicker. Getting closer to Duxford. I don't have the custom scenery for Duxford, so it's just going to be the default AI scenery. Won't be anywhere near as nice as the airshow scenery that so many people have for 2020. That's it at FlightSim.2. So 29 minutes, or 29 miles, sorry, not minutes. So I've had 2 glasses of wine earlier this evening, it's not really helping me. So when we get to about 10 miles out, we'll turn the acceleration back off. and then we can start managing our descent. Or 6-7 miles out maybe. So 19, 18, you can watch the countdown happen. Shall we bring the range down? So we'll get landing instructions soon. So I press Control Alt R minus 3 times, which has brought us back to normal time. It's saying press Enter to contact the arrival tower, which there was a huge delay on.
Bravo Tango Echo Juliet 10 miles south, 2200, for to land. Diamond Golf Bravo Tango Echo Juliet Tower, QNH 1021 fly left traffic runway 24L.
Left traffic 24 left.
Fly left downwind runway 24L.
So we're going to turn right then. We're going to ignore all the boxes. We're going to turn 60 degrees in a moment to fly the reciprocal of 24 and do left traffic. Left traffic means turning left on the pattern to come into 24 left. We're going to ignore all these ridiculous boxes and do it ourselves. So what altitude is the airfield? Let's have a look. 126 feet. So we're going to come down to 1,500 feet. So this can come down to 1,500. Then we can say vertical speed. 500 feet a minute. Slow down a bit. So at the moment we're just still following the track. When we get to within a couple of miles, we'll turn right to 60 degrees. So we're going to center the heading bug up on the direction we're actually traveling. So let's do this without head tracking so I can do it accurately and quickly. So I centered the heading tracking up by pressing both left and right mouse buttons on the heading knob. We've got 5 miles until we get to the actual airfield. And we're just coming up to 1,500 feet. So the only reason I said 1,500 feet is that tends to be about pattern altitude. Usually it's 1,000 feet over runway level normally, but coming into the airspace from this far out would be about right. Let's turn this off so it doesn't center. So we're going to turn to 60 degrees. And we're going to put this on heading mode. So it's going to follow the heading bug now. We're going to bring the altitude down to 1,000 feet and do it in vertical speed mode and come down at 500 feet a minute again. We're going to slow the airplane down a little bit more. So we're within flaps range now. So we're down to, we're dropping as we go. So there's the runway. Ignore the boxes. Actually 1,200 feet would be enough, wouldn't it? So it's done an altitude capture at 1,200 feet. Keep an eye on the airspeed. Obviously it's going to be bleeding off now. So we'll hold it at 90 knots, that's fine. So we're flying downwind. This is what it says. And there's a marker over there. So we just need to run through the final marker. That's the only rule involved in all of this. So we're probably doing this more correctly than this silly series of boxes. So we'll go out beyond the final marker so we can turn into it, if that makes sense. So we'll have a radius turn through final.
Juliet, wind 29er at 9er. Cleared to land runway 24L.
The reason we've just got that is because we are perpendicular with the end of the runway. So we'll acknowledge landing clearance.
Cleared to land runway 24L, Diamond Tango, Echo Juliet.
So I'm going to turn autopilot off at this point. You can see it's flashing there. So Alt 7 will turn head tracking back on because it will become useless. Or useful to us, not useless. So gear down. I think I left the landing lights on, didn't I? Yeah. So we're going a bit wider than it wants, or than the rectangles illustrate, to give ourselves room to turn so we're straight as we come through the final marker, so we have no surprises. So we'll hold ourselves at least at 1,000 feet. Really you want to be 500 feet on that final turn, above ground level. Which is why those rectangles go a bit lower on that final turn normally. But we're giving ourselves more room, more time. So we can see the runway, and then it's just about judgment of turning the final turn to be straight as you come out of the turn. Ideally you would do a standard rate turn. Have a look from outside. So we're configured, we've got the first stage of flaps, we've got the gear down already. We're just holding the power really. We ideally want to come through that final marker at the appropriate altitude. We've dropped a little bit, look, while we were messing around with the outside view, but like I said, you want to ideally be about 500 feet above ground level when you come through to turn towards the runway. Standard rate turn means fly through 360 degrees in 2 minutes. 180 degrees every minute. When you look at a turn coordinator, which this doesn't have, it marks it on, although I can show you it probably does have it on, yeah it does. I'll show you in a moment. So we're going to go a little bit wide and then turn in. More flaps. So I've kind of cut this corner a little bit, but it doesn't matter. The pillars in the Diamond 62 really don't help. Again, the rectangles always appear a little bit high. Not sure why. So we have about a 10 knot crosswind from the right, which is why we're crabbing slightly. There are various techniques to fix crabbing, but we're not going to worry about them today. We're just going to crab down to the runway and turn the aircraft at the last moment before it touches down. There's a crosswind technique which is much nicer.
Diamond Tango Echo Juliet, did you copy? Diamond Tango Echo Juliet, exit runway when able.
So we took a bit longer than he thought, I think, to come in. He was starting to ask where we were. So flaps up, and we can taxi quickly on the runway. So yeah, that was we crabbed all the way in on that landing, and then just as the front wheel was about to come down, we rotated the aircraft round to face the runway direction. But the better method is actually to side slip in, where you keep the aircraft pointing runway direction.
Echo Juliet, exit runway when able.
I'm just following the arrows, mate. So, as somebody else has said on the stream, we need to slow down before we come off the runway, otherwise we get told off for it. So, landing lights can come off, strobe lights can come off as we come off the runway.
Diamond Tango Echo Juliet, contact ground on 121.6.
Going to 121. 6 Diamond Tango Echo Juliet.
So yeah, if you go and follow all of the procedures,
Juliet taxi to parking.
then you don't get any penalties.
Bravo Tango Echo Juliet taxi to General Aviation parking via Taxiway Alpha.
Okay, where's our parking space then? Oh, here it comes. Oh, do we get told off for moving before we acknowledged? Okay, we've just lost some money. Actually, I'm not sure if it will cost you money or just experience points. We'll find out in a moment. It's all a bit murky with how that part of it works. I'm still learning. We're doing 23 knots and we've not been told off for taxi speed. These huge pillars in the DA62 really don't help, do they? They obscure vision enormously. I remember before I had head tracking, I stayed away from this aeroplane because the pillars are so big. They're a huge hindrance to operating the aeroplane.
Welcome to Cambridge. Hope this trip was a walk in the park. Anyway, I appreciate your professionalism. My DA62 is finally here, and I thank you for that.
So let's see if this works the same. As soon as we turn the engines off, yeah, it doesn't wait for an electrical shutdown, which is a bit of a, I don't know, I'm not sure I like that. We've still got a landing smoothness problem there. What's it expecting? Trouble is, if you don't plant the aeroplane, you're not supposed to completely grease it. Anyway, we got an S, whatever that means. So that gave us 3 point... Oh, that was more then. So it was about 2.5, wasn't it, on paper? And we've obviously got bonuses. Reputation bonus. No skip bonus. So there you go, look, no skip bonus. Bad weather bonus. So apparently that was bad weather. And employer commission. So yeah, they take all the money away from you, don't they? What do I get here then? Reputation update. What does this mean? Level 28, whatever that means. It's just a number, isn't it? Okay, so we still can't do a company because I don't have the appropriate whatever it needs to do that, so we'll just go and do another mission flight. And you can see them landing on the map as we look. I want to get night certification, I guess, so we got 3,800. It was quite expensive, wasn't it? What's the most expensive trip here? 3,400. Is this region specific? If we go look at Germany, did that change? Yes, look, 4,500. Are there any really expensive ones, like long distance? Because we can just speed time up. 6,200. That's the favourite so far. Okay, we're doing that one. If I can find it again. There it was. It's a cargo flight. What airplane is it? It's 2-star. Why is it 2-star? Can't see it being that difficult. So you can get rid of the clouds if you want to see what's underneath. So it's just another straight line flight. It's not complicated. Okay, accept mission. We'll happily do it. And it's a Cessna by the look of it. S means super. I wonder if there's SD for super duper. So, potentially 6,000 credits. This could get us over 10k again. I could probably go and buy another certification or something with that. So, if we do this, we can show the plan, and this will let us see the route ETND to EDKA. So we'll clear this off of LittleNavMap, use the search, ETND, set that as departure, just so we get some idea of where we're going in the world, and EDKA, and set that as destination. So we're over here, and this is the ferry flight, or sorry, the cargo flight we're doing. So we're going from here down to here. So Defaults Air Force Base down to Meersbruck. So it's quite a long way across Germany. Okay. So we'll close that and say, yep, let's go fly the mission. So there's our trusty little Cessna 172 that we're going to be carrying Amazon boxes in once again. And there's our little pretend person with his very cool aviators he's just acquired. Okay, walk over to the airplane, and get rid of the covers, get rid of the static port cover and the pitot covers and the wheel chocks. Go and jump inside. Pop the yoke off so we can see what we're doing. We're going to go and put the beacon light on. We're about to start the engines. So battery and alternator on. Fuel can go to both. Mixture can go to rich. Crack the throttle open. And put nav light on as well while we're here. Engines running.
Captain, are you ready? Great. It's Dustin, your dispatcher. You know, just a quick reminder about today's job. You have commodities behind you. Standard shipment for one of our clients based in Worsland. Expected in no time at Meersbruck.
In
All
no
the
time.
planes are built to handle slight turbulence, but maintain a constant flight speed and adapt to changing conditions. A prompt and safe delivery is key for the success of our business. You have all the pertinent information in your flight packet as a reminder. Fly safely.
Okay, so we need to go and put the avionics on. Now the engine's running. And that will show us our flight plan, which is all well and good. Let me turn the head tracking off for a moment. So radios have just come up, which is good. What do we do next? Taxi lights on. Request taxi clearance.
Deep Holt's ground Cessna Delta. Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo, request taxi for south departure.
Cessna Delta, Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo taxi to and hold short of runway 26.
So we're going to the far end.
Alpha. Contact tower on 1
Okay, out of here and then left.
tree when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 26, using taxiway Alpha Cessna Papa, Zulu Bravo.
So right turn 180 degrees and then left turn on the way out. So off the parking brake, centre the view up, head tracking on so we can see what we're doing. And we won't follow the arrows because they're going to lead us straight into the door of the hangar. What on earth's an F5 doing here with the bizarre colour scheme? Okay. How much fuel have they given us for this? It's quite a long flight considering they haven't given us... We're going to have to be mindful about eking the fuel out then. So we might have to run suboptimally on the engine. Because they don't appear to have given us a lot of fuel. If I hadn't looked earlier, I would have run out of fuel. Seems like quite a small airfield to have these A320s parked here. That looks like an A321. Okay. Okay. Request taxi. So I'm not going to do anything before I'm told this time.
Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo ready at runway 26 departure to the south.
Cessna Delta, Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo, QNH 1017 South departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 26.
Clear for takeoff, runway 26 Cessna Papa, Zulu Bravo.
So just looking at a live stream there, yes, it's the 172 Skyhawk. I'm just doing a little cargo mission. Building up the money. So it's just saying take off immediately, but we haven't actually finished getting the airplane ready. I know it doesn't mark us for all of this, but I'm doing things properly. So we want the landing lights on now, and the strobe lights on, and the pitot heat on, and then we'll go. And we'll also get the heading bug pointing the same direction we're going. We'll also go and get the altitude. Oh, we'll work on the altitude once we've taken off. So we're going fast enough. Gentle takeoff run. We want about 70 knots to get best climb rate. So it wants us to go to 600 feet initially.
Cessna Papa, Zulu Bravo, continue for south departure.
Deep holds Tower Cessna Delta. Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo, continue for south departure.
Okay, so we go south. Climbing to 1600 feet, okay. So let's go and set that. If I can get... Trouble is, this is the problem with head tracking. I'm going to have to turn it completely off. The instruments wave around and you can't ever hit anything accurately. There you go, 1600 feet. Come back off the power a bit. And fly to, so it's kind of, once you get near to your cruise altitude and direction, it starts playing the music. So I'm just going to trim the airplane out so it carries on climbing. So put the heading bug on the direction we're going and put the autopilot on. Go vertical speed mode to come down actually towards 1600 feet. It should capture altitude at 1600. We're coming back towards the GPS track. So let's go heading bug mode. Oops, I pressed it twice. There we go, heading bug. Going quite fast still, so let's come back off the power. And let's start trimming it. I'm starting to lean the engine out. I want to save some fuel. I don't think we'll get there otherwise. So you can see what I'm playing with here is the fuel flow. So as I lean out the engine, which is the red knob down here, I'm looking at the RPM difference it's making. But I can counter that with power, but then that uses more fuel. But as long as we're going fast enough.
Cessna Papa Zulu Bravo leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Press enter.
Deepholz Tower Cessna Delta, Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo frequency change.
So we're almost on the nav track now, so we press nav. So we're following GPS now. So the airplane's going to navigate itself straight towards the destination, and we'll just take note of where we are along the way. So at this point we can press Alt-R 1, 2, 3 times, which will speed up our journey. So if we go and move the view to keep that in the middle, we can see the distance ticking down. We can see the GPS track is illustrated here. That is not the GPS track. So you can ignore that. So we just watch the counter come down, and then we actually do some work at the other end to bring the airplane in. So let's go and acquaint ourselves with the other end of the route. So you can see us following the GPS track across the map with the airplane tuned out on the fuel flow. So we've got runway 26. So given the wind, if it is live weather, we should be looking at runway 26. We can find out on the ground it's 240, 10 knots. So we should get 10 knots straight down the runway. So it should ask for 26, in which case we should be able to just turn off, and the final marker will be somewhere out here. So regardless of what it's saying, what we should be able to do is say add a position there and add a position out here somewhere and do something like that. But we'll find out when we're en route. We'll just let it fly on autopilot for a while. 110 miles to run. At the altitude they commanded. I don't know if you get a penalty for climbing higher than the altitude. I really don't know. And I do wonder about accelerating the sim rate, if it affects the autopilot's ability to control the aeroplane, maybe, like you just saw. So you need to keep an eye on it. It's nice weather, isn't it? This is the great thing though about the live weather. So we're running at 3 times normal speed, if you're wondering. Which is why we're whistling across the ground. Rainbow! Oh, and we got rain and snow and all sorts being pelted at us now. So, what's the outside air temperature? How do we find that out in the Cessna? Not that we can do much about it. We haven't got any anti-ice equipment, have we? Or I don't think we have. No. If we start to freeze, we're just going to get cold. It would be good if the control surfaces didn't freeze up though, hey? 90 miles to run. I'm only ever going to go 3 times on the sim rate. Otherwise you'd just be sat here all day, wouldn't you, watching the miles tick down. When I get to within about sort of 7 or 8 miles of the destination, I'll turn it back down to 1. So press Alt-R and minus 3 times instead of Alt-R and plus 3 times. And hope I've got it right, because there's no way of knowing what there's no reset sim rate option, which is really frustrating. 82 miles to run. And counting. I'm going to have a swig of coffee. It's probably got cold actually. It's nice weather though, isn't it? Yeah, my natural inclination with this, although we don't know what's above us, we can find out. If we were to load this up into Navigraph, let's go and steal it from here. Go into Navigraph, new flight, and if we drop the description in. So there's our basic route. The reason I put it into Navigraph is you can see the weather. Oops, that's not how you do it. You do it up here, don't you? Weather. And yeah, so we're getting this live weather, and there's bits of rain. Can we show the cloud cover? Oh, that is showing cloud. Ah, but what altitude is it showing out? 22,000 feet. That's no good to us. There we go. So we can see this light cloud cover. What I was wondering about is if we were to go higher, would we see it as much higher up? Yeah, it's even worse higher up. Look. So there's no point. You're best off staying below it. 60 miles. How's the fuel going? It's dodgy, isn't it? Should we go and thin it out even more? We'll lose some speed, but not a terrific amount. So we're losing performance, but not so much that it's affecting our airspeed. But we are getting better fuel economy. Why do they give these missions such a small amount of fuel? It's like just enough in the aeroplane to get to the destination. Sorry, I've moved the microphone away from my mouth, haven't I? It's like watching speeded up film, isn't it? So if we press backspace, you can see some of this stuff whizzing past. So where are we flying over? It's a fairly built up area. Oh, it's Düsseldorf. We're flying over Essen at the moment. Düsseldorf is just coming. So we might need to keep an eye out for tall buildings, depending on the altitude. Yeah, because look, some bigger ones are appearing. I'm really worried about masts on tall buildings more than anything. Though I know Germany's fairly flat though, so... 40 miles out from Mersbruck. To be honest, I don't mind it having low fuel because it concentrates your mind on preserving fuel. And yeah, we're going to make it 40 miles on that amount of fuel easily. I just need to remember to richen it back up on approach. But it looks like we're going to have a proper instrument approach going on. Has this airfield got ILS? Nope. But we have a synthetic view on the Garmin, which will save our bacon. So we'll be fine. I'm sure once we drop down 1,000 feet or so, we'll be fine. But this is the wonders of live weather. You never know what you're going to face, do you? Hopefully it's not going to get any worse, he says, as it gets a lot worse. Hopefully... Oh, don't freeze up on me. Please don't. So, 30 miles to go. We're dropping down to 100 knots. My main worry is if we do hit cold weather, we've got no way of... Although we've got pitot heat, but my main worry is we lose any instruments if we get really cold weather. Or lose visibility. There's nothing we can do about that in a Cessna. 22 miles to run. This will change when we get to about 7 miles, I think, and it will start asking us, do we want to talk to the tower now? It's proper horrible weather, isn't it? We'll slow it back down again, as I said, in a moment. So if we get to about 10 miles, and I'll put it to normal speed. Although we've not been very... The low fuel warnings come up. We've not been very high altitude the whole way, which shows how flat Germany is. We've flown a huge stretch across Germany, and it's been like a billiard table. Look at the speed the windmills are going with it on speeded up motion. It's great, isn't it? Okay, Alt R, 1, 2, 3. We're back to normal speed. Which looks a lot more sedate than it did. So 10.5 miles to run. So if we bring the range back down on the navigation display, we're knowing we want to probably turn left. We've got some wind in play, so 20 knot crosswind. It was showing 10 knots at ground level at the destination runway. But it's going to be coming pretty much straight down the runway at us, which is useful. So just inside 10 miles to run now. When we get a bit closer to the airport, I'll go back to head tracking. Are you doing, somebody on the live stream is saying, are you doing employee or is this your own company? No, I'm still on employee mode. I've only just started doing the missions really. So I thought I'd live stream them so other people get to see the experience of doing missions. The main takeaways today of learning is you don't need to follow the rectangles at all. You need to fly through the waypoints. How do you get the wind to show? That's a feature of the Garmin G1000. You press, so yeah, we're on the main screen. You go PFD options, wind, and you get option 1, which shows the vectors. Option 2, which shows a direction and speed. And option 3, which shows direction, speed, and the arrow. So that's just a function of the G1000. Again, if you've got it switched off, the synthetic view of the ground is SVT. So you can turn that on and off. It's the terrain option. But in bad weather, it's nice to have because you can see the runway. And hills. If we were in Switzerland or somewhere. 7 miles to run. I'm surprised this hasn't woken up yet. So the radio communication should tell us runway 25, but we'll see. And if it is runway 25, we're going to fly out to the left. And the final marker will show up to the left of the airfield here. But let's wait and see if the computer's going to have a fit or not. We're a bit alarmingly close to the altitude of those blades, aren't we? Especially if we were to turn left now. It's an accident waiting to happen. I didn't turn the landing lights off again, did I? But given this visibility, I'd be inclined to leave them on. We want people to see us. So, is it 5 miles is the trigger for the approach? We're about to find out. Or is it even closer than that? It's closer than that. There's a huge hill over there. Oh, we go, look, it's just lit up. Contact arrival airport. Just I pressed enter.
Echo Delta Kilo Alpha Traffic Cessna Delta. Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo 5 miles northeast 1600. For inbound to land runway 25.
Are they going to agree? Oh, we're just announcing. Okay, we're announcing. We can do what we like. So we're going to go left. So we're going to go heading mode. Pull the aeroplane round to the left side of the final. We'll get past these wind. Oh my word, look how close they are. Okay, I'm coming off autopilot. That's not scary at all, is it? So we're ignoring their whole pattern nonsense. Now we're slowing down. So let's press Shift Space and Alt 7 to turn head tracking back on. And we can keep an eye on this by hand now. We can see the runway down there. Just bleeding some speed off. And then we can get flaps down in a moment. Which will give us some drag to continue descending. So, although it's showing about 15 knot headwind at the moment, or sorry, crosswind, once we've turned towards runway direction, it'll be nothing like that. So, though it says follow traffic pattern, you don't have to. So what I'm going to do is press Alt 8 now, and then if I sit up I can see over the nose. So I've just refactored where it thinks a normal head position is, to give myself a natural advantage. So then we will fly through final, we'll get clearance to land hopefully. So yeah, we've got hardly any crosswind component of the wind, and you can see the wind is tailing off as we get lower. We're down to about gusting between about 11 and 15 knots.
500.
Yeah, so this isn't a controlled tower, we're just announcing intentions.
Echo Delta Kilo Alpha Traffic Cessna Delta. Zulu Papa Zulu Bravo is on final runway 25 to land.
So we've got full flaps now. So it's a visual approach even though the weather's horrific. Just keep it on the speed. Turbulence over the trees. We're being pushed a little bit sideways there, but I didn't have much room to do anything about it. So flaps up. There was a little bit of wind shear as we got over the runway and started to flare.
Echo Delta Kilo Alpha Traffic Cessna Delta. Zulu Papa Zulu Bravo is taxiing to parking.
So landing lights and strobes can come off. And I think we just have that 20. Is it a 20 knot taxi limit? We'll stay on the path, we won't go across the grass. I think we get told off for that. I think it calls it a taxiway diversion. So we'll stay a couple of knots inside the limit, hey? Or we have to make a turn. Better slow down. Sun's coming out. There's a saying in my other half side of the family that it's going to be a sunny day if there is enough blue sky to make a sailor a pair of trousers. I have no idea where the saying comes from, but I've never forgotten it now. And I always look when I see blue sky and wonder if there's enough. We get this soporific music, don't we, while we're taxiing? So, how much money will this have netted us doing this long-distance trip across Germany? The taxiing's the worst part of the whole thing, isn't it? Flying bit's the fun bit. And we've got no speed showing up, which is rather interesting. We must have, of course, we've got the wind with us. But is it measuring ground speed or indicated airspeed when it tells you off for taxiing too fast? Okay. Parking brake on. And now, which order do we do things in if we want to get this done? Let's try and do it before the airplane turns itself off. Ready? Clonk. Clonk. That one, that one, that one, that. Oh, it beat us to it. Oh, we're getting better. What's the score going to be on the totalizer? That's pretty good, isn't it? Does that give us some sort of bonus, maybe? Respect the condition. What does that mean? Ensure cargo integrity. 99%. What? Only like one cup and saucer was broken. And now we're going to give it to the delivery driver, who will throw it at somebody's doorstep. So I almost tripled my money from the original quote. No skip bonus. Interesting. Level 32, whatever that means. I wonder how many levels there are. It's probably infinite. So I've got 13,000 credits in the bank. How can I spend them? Should we do a... Oh, I've got enough to go and do night currency, so I'll be able to do night flights, I guess, once I do that. It won't go and change the time on me. It'd be worth doing that, wouldn't it? Let's go and take the exam. Purchase. What are we doing in the exam in then? A Cessna. Whoop-de-doo. So what do we have to do? Just do a circuit. Great. In the dark. Why could somebody have any problem flying in the dark when they can fly? No, I don't get it. Anyway, let's go for it. I guess I take it for granted because I know how to fly by instruments, so I'll naturally switch to flying by instruments if I can't see where I'm going. Or if, if I can't see the ground. So, let's go and have a look. See, I think they should do the reverse of this. If we have to put the aeroplane, or get the aeroplane ready, we should have to put the aeroplane away as well. I don't get that you don't have to do this in reverse, and put the covers back on and put the chocks in place. And I don't get why we shouldn't have to go and check the fuel if we're just getting in the aeroplane. Maybe they'll improve it, who knows. Okay, night flight. So Alt 7, turn that off. Let's go and turn the electric on first, and the alternator. So, okay, so these actually do work at night. It's interesting the lamps were already on. Nav light can come on, beacon light on. Go and set that to both tanks. The fuel cutoff is pushed in. So, rich mixture. In the real world, you would want to go and turn the fuel pump on for a few seconds, and you would be exercising the throttle while doing it. But this isn't the real world. Again, we're not going to touch those. So switch on the taxi lights. We haven't started the engine yet, and we're not on the runway yet for the strobes. It's interesting, isn't it? So although it's doing this first. So that would be to get ready to taxi, but you wouldn't put the strobe light on until you're on the runway. Anyway, let's see what happens. So, engine's running. Do we get outside air temperature showing on any instruments around the cockpit? I'm not sure that we do. In a little Cessna 172. It's probably hidden inside this system somewhere to show us OAT. Oh, there it is. 15 degrees. So it's actually warm outside. Okay. So now the engine's running, we can turn the avionics on so we won't go and damage anything. And we'll bring the range down on the map so we can see where we are. So there's our nice little circuit we're supposed to be flying tonight. Taxi lights on. Let's do what it says. Turn the strobe lights on. Otherwise it won't let us progress.
What you can do by flying a Cessna C-172 after sunset. Remember that you still need to follow visual flight rules, even if you are flying at night. Try to rely on your environment and on airport lighting aids as much as you can. Only use your avionics when needed.
Okay. Let's request taxi clearance.
Razy ground, Cessna Delta. Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo, ready to taxi departure to the west with Mike.
Cessna Delta, Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo taxi to and hold short of runway 07 using taxiway Mike Tango Cross runway 20 Tango Echo. Contact tower on 119er. 05 when ready.
Okay,
Taxi
follow the big arrows.
Runway 07 via taxiway Mike Tango Cross runway 20 Tango Echo Cessna Papa, Zulu Bravo.
This is cheating. They should show you a chart, shouldn't they? And you should have to follow the signs, or orient yourself at least with the airport. So I think we're just going to be flying a circuit in the dark, which is easy enough. The big blue triangles do kind of ruin your night vision, but oh well. So just reading that comment on the live stream comments about removing the covers after every flight is madness. But I guess it's just to instill practice, isn't it? Or good practices. It's like I'm sure I've mentioned it on the channel before. There's I think it was a 737 that the crew got in first flight of the day somewhere. It was an accident report I read years ago. Crew got in first flight of the day, and the, I guess, pilot in command, out of habit, for whatever reason, started the left engine first. And it turns out on that particular model of, I think it was 737, the hydraulics are wired up to the right engine for the hydraulic pumps for the ground, for the wheel brakes and things like that. And yeah, he started the left engine first. The wheel brakes had lost pressure overnight, and the aircraft rolled forwards and crashed into the tractor with the thrust from the left engine. It might have been an Airbus actually, because Airbuses do have they do have slight positive thrust on the engines at standstill. But I can't remember what type of aircraft. But yeah, it just shows though, the point I was like circuitously getting to is that doing things again and again and again isn't a bad thing if they're demonstrating the right way to do things again and again and again. So then it becomes second nature, and then missing something out feels wrong. Or that's in my mind anyway. There's another really, really good book by an ex-Tomcat pilot called Feet Wet. And one of the comments he makes about the pilots or naval aviators landing on carriers is the ones that were confident in their own ability and didn't follow procedure or instruments to the letter. Not just their career didn't last very long, their life didn't last very long. Okay. So request takeoff clearance. And it wants us to go switch on the landing lights. We're not on the runway yet.
Papa, Zulu Bravo, at runway 07, ready for departure to the west.
Cessna Delta, Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo, QNH 101 tree departure to the west approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 07.
Acknowledge runway clearance before we move.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 07, Cessna, Papa, Zulu Bravo.
And we can enter the runway. It does look very good, doesn't it, at night? It's got that whole haziness. Volumetric light, I think the technical people would call that. Volumetric lighting. Okay, here's the runway.
Remember that the yellow and red lights mark the end of the runway. You will need to take off before you reach them.
Oh, she said that so earnestly. Okay, I'm just going to hold on here for a moment and just check that we're going to go and put the pitot heat on. They haven't asked us about that, but again, it's a warm evening. It's 15 degrees, so it's debatable. Notice they haven't put the standby battery. So flat out. Looking to rotate 55 knots. Should we put the wind on as well? So we got a 4-knot tailwind. Interesting. Climb to 550 feet. It's very pretty outside, isn't it? So we're looking at 70 knots. We're about on the button for best climb rate.
Cessna Papa Zulu Bravo continue for west departure.
Razy Tower Cessna Delta. Zulu Papa Zulu Bravo continue for west departure.
Okay, so is it not going to give us rectangles, so we just fly it? We'll follow the pattern on the map. Climb to 1,100, so we'll carry on climbing as we go. So I was on about earlier, if anybody was listening, about standard turn rate. It's that marker there. We've gone a bit long, but it doesn't matter. Carry on turning. So they're asking us for tighter than the standard turn rate then. Okay, we'll do it. They wanted us at 1100, didn't they? So yeah, we've gone a little bit high. We've gone a bit wide, so we'll just cross back in. We'll do this by hand. Oh, we got a bit low now. Not doing very well at this. Let's trim the airplane out. So it's giving us very little instruction here. Look, it's just saying announce our landing. So it's everyone for themselves at this point. So reach base end. So we want to be descending turn, really. So that's standard turn rate. But I got a feeling this is going to be looking for sharper than that. Although it looks like we're going to hit it. So we just keep turning. I'm going to go a bit tighter. We're way too high. Okay, I'm going to take some liberties here. Do some piloting.
500.
Oh, and the rectangles have turned up. We're not going to use flaps for this because we haven't got time to slow down even. I love the oscillations that can happen in the new sim. So we're just slowing down. That's because we did a no-flap landing. Look, we've gone flying past the taxiway. It's going to go for the next taxiway. That's fine. Yeah, we didn't descend enough on the downwind leg. Well, sorry, the base leg. We should have been descending far more in the turn. So I should have had flaps down before we made the turn. Again, it's all things that you learn by practice. I did a very bad demonstration there, and I used side slip on the way in to force the aeroplane down more quickly. But it'll be interesting to see what score it gives us. It should mark me down for airmanship and for not following procedure correctly. So we did a high-speed landing without flaps. I wonder if it will tell me off. A real tutor would have been furious with me. So enter to request taxi to parking clearance. Oh, it's done it again, hasn't it? It's not responding to the enter key anymore. I wonder if I have to put the parking brake on. We're going to get a penalty for this, but it's not responding. I wonder if we just carry on. I think the sim's gone wrong. I know people say there are bugs in this. Yeah, there we go. I tried to announce, it wouldn't let me. Although I could have done it via the radio communication panel, couldn't I? So switch off landing lights. Switch on the taxi lights. Oh, I wonder if I needed to do that before it would let me. No. Still not letting me. Can I press Alt-N already? Nope. So we're now stuck. We can't announce, so it's not telling us where to go park. So we can't finish the flight. So if we just drive blindly round for a while, will it tell us? No, we're stuck. The sim's gone wrong. Can't do anything about it, I'm afraid. And now we're stuck parking a Cessna amongst the commercial traffic. Oh, great. What happens if I just turn the engine off? Will it trick it? Oh, actually, maybe we can do it via the comms panel. So, if I press tab and... where is it? How do you get the ATC panel up these days? Is it this one? Communication, COM1.
Razy ground Cessna Delta. Zulu Papa, Zulu Bravo.
That's tricked it into it.
Cessna Delta Zulu Papa Zulu Bravo taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway.
So it just acknowledged it before I could even click on it. So yeah, we're going on a magical mystery tour now around the airport. There's the parking place over there, look. Away from the commercial traffic. So we found a way out of the bug is to pull up the comms menu, and as soon as it sees you're tuned into COM1, which it has already tuned to the ground, it will realise where you are. So there are ways around the bugs. We're going to get a massive bill now for entering the part of the apron where all of the commercial traffic was. Probably have to ring somebody and fill out a ton of paperwork. It is a shame, isn't it, when you hit the bugs, but I guess it's understandable because it's such a hugely complex simulation. And people complain over the tiniest little details going wrong. I guess I'm defensive about it because I'm a software developer, and yeah, the tiniest edge cases can cause code that was otherwise really solid and stable to malfunction incredibly badly. I've seen it happen. Okay, it's just press Control Shift E then, because we're already going to get penalised for.
Passed the test. Congratulations. There's a few
Passed.
things that you
Oh
could
my
work on
word!
to perform even better, but that was some solid
Yeah,
flying.
like slowing down, descending in the turn. We lost all of the score on the taxi path. Oh my word! 100% plane handling. I thought I was going to get crucified for not descending in the turn enough. And we still got a beat. Oh my word. That's just scary. Oh, we got a night license. Congratulations! Airline night currency passed. Allows you to carry passengers at night. Would they really want to get in my airplane after witnessing that though? We're down to 5,900 credits. What can we spend it on? Is there anything else we can go for quickly? Oh, there's the tail dragger endorsement. It doesn't lead to anything though, does it? It just means you can fly tail draggers. Should we go do it? Take the exam. May as well. All this is really is how good are you at reacting to the rudder? Or with the rudder. Oh, it's another, it's another pattern. Oh, great. Ready? Here we go again. So, Joseph is saying there are bugs in the G1000. What are the bugs in the G1000, just so I can avoid them? Please do share it with the channel, the things that are broken in it. That would be really useful. Ah, so you just have to have enough money, do you, to start a company? I didn't realise that. So you just do lots of flights. Okay, so it looks like we're in a little Savage Cub by the look of it. I like this airplane, it's good fun. So we're going to do Control E, just a shortcut taking it off because it doesn't penalise you for it.
As covered in our briefing, we'll be performing a standard traffic pattern around Miami's KLNA airport with the Cub Crafters X-Cub.
Cool.
Remember that tail draggers do not behave in the same way as tricycle-geared aircraft
I
when
know.
taxiing, taking off, and landing. Try to maintain centerline and anticipate rear-wheel drift while turning on the taxiway. Keep your speed low while taxiing, and brake progressively while pitching back once you land to avoid flipping the aircraft over.
Yep. That's absolutely fine.
Remember that once you get some
Kilo
speed on the
Lima
runway,
November
you'll
Alpha
want to lift the
Traffic
tail
Cub
of the
Crafters
aircraft
Delta.
by gently pushing
Zulu
forward on
Papa
the
Zulu
stick.
Bravo is
Once you are on the
taxiing
main
to
gear
runway
and reach
10.
rotation speed, start gently pitching back to take off. Keep your feet on the rudder to brace for left turning tendencies.
Yes, I know. Also keep some back stick going on to force the tailwind into the ground, to give it some grip. Especially once you start running throttle over it. Or running thrust over it, I should say. You see a huge crash coming, you reckon? No, tail draggers aren't as bad as everybody makes out. It's just the only people who have problems with them are the people who think all aeroplanes operate like pattern aerobatic planes. And tail draggers don't. You have to actually fly them. This is the only problem, but then with head tracking... Oh no, it's not going to let me see outside, that's rubbish. I'll have to sit up. Peer over the end of the engine cowling. So if I can swing this in my favour by pressing Alt and 8 when I'm slouched, and then I can sit up even further. No, I don't have a problem with tail draggers at all. The only issue I ever normally have is I don't have analog toe brakes, so you get that happen.
Kilo Lima November Alpha Traffic Cub Crafters Delta. Zulu Papa Zulu Bravo taking off runway 10 departure to the west.
You notice it's got a small amount of positive thrust, look. .500 feet. What's this at? And climb out to 1,000 feet, okay. I have no idea which control profile this is using, but it seems to be okay.
Kilo Lima November Alpha Traffic Cub Crafters Delta. Zulu Papa Zulu Bravo 1 miles, northwest 900 feet inbound to land runway 28.
So we want to be back down to about 500 feet.
Try to land by making contact with all 3 wheels at the same time.
I'll have a go. Would help if the sun wasn't in our face. So we have VASI lights, which are going to help. Looking at the airspeed and look at that, full flaps. This thing should be able to almost hang on its wings. So we're trying to maintain the attitude on the VASI lights and looking at the airspeed to give us enough room there to rotate. We've gone high now. So we'll just get it down smoothly. That was 3-pointed, but it was probably a bit hard. Stop at parking stand, and it's not going to tell us where. Great, it's done it again, hasn't it? So if we pull up the comms,
Kilo Lima November Alpha Traffic Cub Crafters Delta. Zulu Papa Zulu Bravo is taxiing to runway 28.
No. Announce taxi to parking.
Kilo Lima November Alpha
Landing
Traffic
gear
Cub
malfunction.
Crafters
Oh
Delta.
dear, have I broken it?
Zulu Papa Zulu Bravo is taxiing to parking.
So it's not doing the parking or the taxi directions anymore. Or it's doing them from a random place. Should we have a look from outside? Well, the wheels look okay to me. Let's follow the path it wants, just to see what happens. Oh look, the arrow's the line's getting longer the further away we get. It'd be good if it had shown us that when we came in, wouldn't it? The throttle is suddenly kicking in at about 25%. I'll be amazed if we pass that after the heavy landing, but we'll see.
You've passed your certification. Congratulations. Only a few minor kinks to iron out, and you could make
Really?
perfect pilot.
What, like unbending the undercarriage? Oh my word! Oh, we got a B. Plane handling. Oh, it's the taxi path we got told off for. Oh my word! Radio comms was because the sim went wrong again. I can't believe I passed that. So we're getting through this by hook or by crook. So we've covered off all of the major things. I guess that will open up lots more missions, I don't know. So according to advice, we just need to go and do long-range missions now that get lots of money. Your level allows you to access a new difficulty level. I can go 4-star. What makes it difficult? Who knows? We're about to find out, I guess. So I can do night flying now, so presumably I can do live flights right now at night. I'm not taking people on fun flights, they're a waste of time. The cargo flights seem to pay well. Standard freight from Horstal to Brunswick. So that's the winner so far. Is there anything higher than that around? No, that's the highest paying at the moment. Commodity from Wiesbaden, that was good as well, 5,300. So Urgent freight delivery. Accept. Don't really mind what the weather is. Oh, it's only a Cessna. It's not going to be disastrous, is it? Or not. This is going to make it more interesting. Oh, of course we've got Tail Dragon now, so we can do the Beaver flights. Excellent. Oh, this is a much more fun aeroplane. Okay, so the graphic then on the mission doesn't determine the aircraft. So I think we're in the Beaver. Yay! I love the Beaver. I haven't seen it for a while in the sim though. To be honest, I didn't know it was in this version of the sim. Oh look, they've got a pitot cover up here this time. So Shift C to get inside. Awesome sauce. This is a great aeroplane. Let's make sure we got the correct settings for it. So we want propeller and yeah, I haven't got the right settings. Look, basic throttle and propeller. Save them back. Let's see what I've got on the throws. So propeller is good, end to end, and throttle is good, end to end. Brilliant. So then we can just go and start the airplane up. So mixture to rich. Should we see what it does on Control E? Because I don't think we get penalised for it. I mean, obviously I know how to start the Beaver up. It's quite straightforward actually. You got the. Let's do it by hand, just for anyone who's not seen the Beaver. I'm going to turn the head tracking off for a moment so I can look round easily. So we put the batteries on. We'll go and put the beacon light on. I'm not sure if you can start it without the fuel boost. I think you might have to have it. I'm going to have to try and remember now. Where are the fuel shut-off? Oh, here's the fuel selector, sorry. Hasn't got shut-off valves, it's got a selector. So yeah, center tank, you've got 3 tanks. So let's see what we've got in them. I guess, did they come on with the electric? They should have done. So we're going to have to balance out the tanks en route. So it's going to be something to play with. We can't just sit back and play on accelerated time. So we'll go and we put the beacon light on. We'll put the nav light on as well. We'll put the fuel boost on. And then we'll go to both and then hit the starter.
Captain, are you ready? Great. It's Clinton, your dispatcher, you know? Just a quick reminder about today's job. You have goods in bulk behind you. Standard shipment for one of our clients based in Wiesbaden. Expected in no time at Wiesbaden AAF. Sensitive cargo containers are designed to withstand turbulence, but keep a steady flight speed and adjust accordingly. A timely and secure delivery will ensure that everyone is satisfied. All relevant information is in your flight packet, which is uploaded on your map as a reference. Clear skies ahead.
Thank you very much. We can turn the fuel boost pump off now. We'll just crack the throttle open a bit though to warm the engine up. So strobe lights on. Oh no, not strobe lights. Instrument lights. Although we don't need them, do we? Put the radios on. Map light, pitot heat, fuel boost. I'm just reminding myself what you get in a Beaver. De Havilland DHC2. Enter to accept taxi clearance.
Lima Foxtrot, Quebec, Charlie traffic to Avaland Foxtrot. Golf India Lima Yankee is taxiing to runway 09L.
So before we do that, let's just go and have a quick look over here. So what instruments do we get? So there's nav, there's compass. So when we are flying, it's got an autopilot, it's got heading mode. I'm just wondering how we set the heading bug. Is it this one? Yeah. So before we get going, let's just sit ourselves up a little bit and we'll taxi out gently. It's a while since I've flown the Beaver, so mistakes will probably be made. It's a great aeroplane though. It really is. It's a proper aeroplane. So yes, the tension knobs work. They stop the knobs from rattling around. Oh hello, we're about to get attacked by a forklift truck. Yeah, if you don't tighten the tension knobs up, everything squeaks. and it annoys the living daylights out of you. So let's go and try out, while we're taxiing, the head tracking. It seems to work really nicely. Oh, there's a Huey. Oh, I'll just leave the taxiway and get penalised for it. Should look where I'm going, really, shouldn't I? Except for, instead of being excited about a geriatric aeroplane. So the autopilot in the Beaver, this model of autopilot works a little bit differently than what you've seen before, but it's not insurmountable to learn. It just takes a bit of extra thought, and I imagine this will be a version of it that's not modelled correctly either. They very rarely are. The black square aeroplanes tend to be modelled correctly, but I very much doubt this one will be. We'll see. Obviously it has control over propeller speed and mixture and throttle, so it's a little bit different in that regard as well in terms of looking after the engine, but again it's fairly straightforward. For takeoff you run maximum RPM on the propeller and then you can slow it right down during cruise. And we can trim the mixture back as well. Is this like the longest taxi in the world ever? What are they doing? We are literally doing an S shape around the entire airfield to get to the runway. And maybe this is correct for this airfield. Who knows? So we're going to use half of our fuel up. You know what? I'm going to lean us right out until we take off. I'm not wasting half my fuel taxiing around the airfield going on a magical mystery tour. It's absolute insanity, isn't it? Round and round in circles to get to a grass strip by the look of it. And there's hardly any wind. So we're going to be taking off with the wind. Are they having a laugh? I mean, it won't make a lot of difference, but even so, you would always expect to be flying into the wind. Was this a cargo flight, by the way? Apparently not. Or at least it's not modelled inside the aeroplane to have cardboard boxes. Enter runway 9 left. Take off from runway 9 left. Let's go and set the altimeter accurately as well, which it hasn't asked us to do, and it didn't on the Control E. Oh, we didn't do Control E, did we? holding the plane on the centre line with the rudder and gently pull away from the ground, and we're in the air. 1,300 feet is our initial ask, so we're just coming up to 1,000 feet. That's 1,300. Climb to 2,300 feet and the turn for V-Spud, which is out in the distance over there, 111 miles away. So we're going to put the autopilot on in a moment. 2,300 feet we want. That's what it's asked us to do. I'm just going to trim us out to continue to climb while I fiddle with the autopilot. Let's turn the head tracking off so I can do this fairly quickly. Plane going in a straight line. I'm just trimming it. I'm putting a lot of aileron trimming. Coming up through 2,000 feet. I'm going to stop us from climbing, otherwise we're going to go straight through 2,300 feet before I can get us there. And I'm putting in an absolute stack of elevator trim as well to try and stop us from climbing, but we're still climbing like nobody's business. I'm trying to hold on to 2,300 feet before we go in, to give myself enough time to go and put the blooming autopilot on. I'm still trimming it. And we're oh my word. I must have put so much trim into this, it's untrue. So let's get the heading bug going the same direction we're going, which is about 30 degrees-ish. We're still climbing. Right, I'm going to take the risk. Autopilot on. Heading bug mode. Altitude mode, which is altitude hold. So now we have some time, I can explain this to you. So we've obviously gone too high. So what we're going to do is go and set the altitude to 2,300 feet. Press altitude again and we'll say we want to go down at 500 feet a minute. And you can see that happening. And it will stop itself. I don't think it arms, this isn't implemented properly, but it should stop when it gets to 2,300. Yeah, look, it's gone to altitude mode automatically. I didn't arm that, and it didn't ask me about it. So it's kind of a simplified version of how it should work. We can just trim the airplane out now, so we can go lean it out. So look at the RPM. So that appears to do nothing. And again, look at the propeller speed, and it is influencing speed. Okay, so let's just go up towards the higher end, say 1,900 RPM. Obviously, you've got power, so you're going to run it, say maybe 28. So we don't have a GPS on here. Yeah, we just have a basic autopilot. So we'll keep an eye on the map. We've got our GPS on our tablet, essentially. So we're just going to be flying headings, basically. We do have nav radios, though. So is that are there any beacons? Oh, let's go and clear this off the map. My nose is blocking up as we speak. If I press tab. Oh, that becomes, this tablet becomes this one. Okay, that's good. So LFQC to ETOU. The reason I'm doing this is I want to go and see what VORs we've got down the other end, which we can probably do on the one in the sim, to be honest. Oh, it's going to show VORs, okay. Funny, because I can't see any. So we won't rely on that, and we'll look at this. So we took off from... oh, I'm not showing airfields, am I? That would be useful. Set that as departure. Get rid of those 2 waypoints. Where are we going to? Wiesbaden. So we can search in LittleNavMap directly. Whoops, it was already there. Have I spelled that wrong? There we go. Set as the, or Wiesbaden, I guess. So that's where we're going. And there's a VOR there. Oh no, it's not. It's a Takeoff dam. I wonder if the radio will still work with it. Is there any? Oh, there's one. Oh no, it's another Takeoff. There's one. That will do. 11480. So we've got the Bendix radio over here with nav on the right hand side. 11480. Switch that to active, and you should find. Depends on the range actually. What's the range on the Wiesbaden? Oh, sorry, Zweibrücken. 60 miles. We should be within 60 miles, shouldn't we? So this is nav 1, I'm guessing. So can we... He says famous last words. Have I not switched on radios or something? No, I switched the radios on, didn't I? Because otherwise that wouldn't be lit up. 11480. And we'd be expecting it to be what distance from us? 36 miles away. Oh, I didn't look at the distance then. The angle, I mean, 40 degrees. So you would be expecting, if you spun this round to 40 degrees for the CDI, if this was nav 1, which I was expecting it to be, maybe it's broken. Maybe this is the test. Can you do this without the navigation radios working? There's no switches. There's no switch for it, is there? You've got a transponder on. I didn't turn it on. It's just on. Go to alt mode, yeah. Autopilot obviously is on heading mode. There's no brake has popped out, is there? So why is nav 1 not working? Switched on mode. Mode doesn't do anything. 11480. I was expecting that to come to life so we could play with it. Apparently not. What about ADF? I wonder if that's working. If we turn on the ADF stations, there's one here, look. 360. So it's in ADF mode. What? Okay. Is it going to work? I don't think any of the avionics work. Unless there's a switch I've missed. The radios are on. Oh my word. So someone's saying on the live stream comments, sorry I should have looked earlier, that it's bugged on the Beaver. We'll just use heading bug then and use the tablet. That's a shame. So we can't use radio navigation. We'll just stay close to the beam then. or not the beam, the GPS track. That's kind of funny that I was able to pull the mixture back. Hasn't affected RPM at all. If I increase the mixture, it is affecting speed though. So, how much fuel have we got left? On the middle tank we're running quite close to empty, so we're going to go to the rear tank for a while and run it down, and we'll see how we go. 92 miles. I don't reckon we're going to make it on the fuel we've got, you know. This didn't seem like a lot of fuel. I'm going to lean it right out. It just seems odd. I see they still haven't. Oh no, they have got the pilot now in the Beaver. In 2020, it had no pilots in it, did it? Or I don't remember it having them. It's a great little aeroplane now. It's very how would you put it? Agricultural. So we're about to encounter some awful weather. Thankfully we have this lovely GPS map at our disposal, so we'll just leave the aeroplane chugging along. So I don't think we've got any hills on the way. Let's go and double check on LittleNavMap. So if we go and show the profile underneath the aeroplane on the route, and we'll put our track in. Yeah, we're not going to go anywhere near the ground. We're always 1,000 feet away from the ground, or almost always, which would be normal rules. So maybe we take ourselves up to 2,500 feet, but then we might lose money for not obeying the instructions. I'm going to turn this a few degrees to the right. Obviously the wind is changing while we're flying. Just to straighten us up along the track. So we're just about to go over the border actually, look. Between France and Germany. So from, what's that, Croix-Mer? Is that how you pronounce that? Stop this from centering itself. So we're about quarter of the way there. I'm going to go make a drink and go blow my nose, because as you can probably hear, I'm becoming more bunged up by the minute. So I think this virus that everyone's had this Christmas is doing the rounds, and I've had it. It's got worse and better repeatedly the last couple of days with me. So yeah, I'm going to go and make myself a tea with something in it to clear my head. We are pushing further away from the track, aren't we? Or we certainly appear to be. Although that looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave it flying. What's the fuel tank status looking like? We're on the rear tank at the moment, aren't we? There's no way we're going to get there on this amount of fuel. Just looking at those needles. We're going to be on fumes. So before I go and make my cup of tea, I'm going to put us on the front tank to even it out. And I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. I have hot tea. Should we go and increase the sim rate for a bit? 1, 2, 3. So we are trudging across the German countryside in the Beaver. We are using the front fuel tank, which you can see the needle coming down, and I'm fully expecting us to run out of fuel. Because although we have leaned the airplane out beyond belief, and we're pushing it even further back, look. Seeing how leanly we can, how much mileage we can get out of the engine to do it in the fuel we've been given. .4 miles. .62 miles. This live weather lark is it's fun, isn't it? Look at the vertical speed dipping around, it's not happy. I don't think the autopilot on this really likes the speeded up mode. So Alt R minus, minus, minus. We're back in normal time. It doesn't like it, does it? How are we doing on the fuel tanks? So we're going to go to the rear fuel tank again for a bit. Just to balance it out. And let it come down to a similar amount than the others. Although it's deceiving. The gauges are not all scaled the same. I don't know if you noticed that. So I'll bring the rear down to 4. And then we'll bring the middle and the front down to 4 on the gauges. And we'll see how we go. We've still got 50 miles to run. This is going to be dodgy. So Gert's saying you're constantly complaining about 2024. Why? Who's complaining about it? I'm not complaining. I'm making observations about the fuel that we're running this extremely tight. Otherwise, I think the sim's fantastic. There's lots of little bugs in it, but they'll obviously fix those as time goes by. I need to drink this tea. It'll hopefully unblock my nose. So while we're flying, if we pop open the tablet and go to aircraft, flight performance, and mass and balance and fuel, can we do anything about it in here? Well, no, we can't use this while we're flying, which is a real shame. We'll go with what they've given us and see if we can make it work. If we can't, if we're getting disastrously low on fuel, because we've gone well over halfway. So what does Alt-T do? I'm curious now. Let's go to settings and go to controls and keyboard. Search by input, Alt-T. Toolbar toggle, that's the VR toolbar. Okay, what about fuel then? Can we... People keep talking about this, that you can use various things. Toggle electric pump, set electric, fuel selectors. Add fuel quantity. Interesting. So if we said Control Alt F, And we'll just search that by input. Does add fuel quantity. Go back, save and back, back. So this, hopefully it won't mark us down for this if it's a bug in the sim, because it'll be much easier. So Control Alt F. Oh, that's nice. It's just given us a whole stack of fuel. Control Alt F again, and we've done it again. Oh, excellent. Rich mixture. Let's run the engine into the ground. We're a lot happier now, and we can just get to the destination. That's a good trick to know. So thank you so much for that in the live stream comments. But yeah, like you say, in the next update to the sim, I'm sure there's a whole raft of things that are going to get fixed. Some of them big, some of them little. We've now got enough fuel to fly halfway across Europe. So we're flying past an airfield down here. So where's that? But we're just coming past Ramstein Air Force Base, and the name of the heavy metal band. I guess this is where all the staff at the Air Force Base live. So, Ramstein-Meisenbach. I think it's a supermarket. That's got to be a school, hasn't it? Maybe. I don't know. Could be the council offices. And out across the countryside again. Let's go back to Meckenbach, Schwedelbach, Ersenhausen. Very cool. Right, we need a couple of degrees to the right on the heading bug. And let's try our luck with accelerating time. 3 times. kilometers, nautical miles even. 41, 40, 39, 38. Oh, here comes some airplane hacking devices. 35 miles. Are we getting lower altitude? The vertical speed needle is shooting all over the place. And there's more windmills coming. Hopefully not too much closer to us. It looks funny, doesn't it, speeded up? It's quite amusing. They're on a hilltop near us. Are we going to go directly over their blades? No, I don't think. I think we're just going to skim past them on the left. I think we had a bit of a gap. 24 miles to run. So back to normal time, and we're going to turn right a bit towards probably Spartan. So I just did 3 pushes and it just about was handling it. So Alt R 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's related to GPU and CPU usage, because I run the sim well under what my hardware can handle. I have a lot of headroom in there. So it's probably affecting OBS with the streaming data more than anything. You're probably seeing it quite stuttery. It's actually still quite smooth for me here. I've noticed that a lot. What comes out of OBS and goes onto YouTube is often far worse quality than what I see, even though I've set it to its highest rate that it'll handle. So we're 7 miles out, back at normal speed. Flight straight in towards the runway from where we are. So wind is, they're going to tell us runway 25, aren't they? So should we just do a pattern round? Oh, we've got ILS though, but then the nav radios are bugged, aren't they? So we at least want to fly 070 degrees in a couple of minutes time. So as we cross the river would be a good time to turn 070. Which river is this? It's the Rhine. Okay, yeah, of course it is. Yeah, because Frankfurt's just up. You've got the fork here for the River Main, or Main, which takes you past Frankfurt. So when we cross, actually we can do it now, we're going to turn to 70 degrees on the compass. I wonder if this gets compass gyro drift in this sim.
V-spotted traffic to Havilland Foxtrot. Golf India, Lima Yankee 5 miles, southwest 2300. Ford inbound to land runway 25.
Okay, so we're taking no notes of the boxes, we'll just fly approach ourselves. So we want to find out the airfield elevation on the way in. So Wiesbaden is 460 feet, so we want 1500 feet ideally to come down to. So we can do that on the autopilot. Come down at 500 feet a minute to get to 1500, which will be about 1,000 feet above ground level, and then we'll keep descending in the turn. We should get a call out from ATC when we get parallel with the runway while flying the reciprocal, or the downwind leg, as people commonly call it. So when we get, when we get perpendicular to that point in space, the ATC will wake up. Famous last words, of course. Oh, come on. ATC should have woken up. Okay, let's turn the autopilot off and go land the airplane. Winding the flaps out. Let's get the PAPI lights to reflect the appropriate altitude. Oh, coming in over the main road. I bet the real pattern doesn't let you come over the main road. Or if it does, I'd be surprised.
Eastbound traffic to Haviland Foxtrot. Golf India Lima Yankee is on final runway 25 to land.
Well, at least the live weather makes it interesting every time, doesn't it? So I wonder if we get any money back for the fuel that's left. It doesn't enforce lighting because we didn't use landing lights then, and it didn't complain.
Wiesbaden traffic to Haviland Foxtrot. Golf India Lima Yankee is taxiing to parking.
So this is a bit of tip for anybody that struggles with tail draggers. While you're taxiing around, always have the stick pulled back, because then the thrust, and this is even more important now the simulator is more accurate, the thrust leaving the propellers will hit that tail and force the tail wheel into the ground, which will give it more purchase, so it won't slide. Ah, so Rob has an update on the Tobii axis. To be honest, I've got it working fine. I'm quite happy with it, with the numbers I've got. So I'm happy to wait until the official interface appears. But well done for figuring out the numbers. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night at the end of this landing. That makes me laugh when you see tail draggers that are not parked correctly. Okay, Will we get penalised for the fuel? No. Oh, I wonder if the airline procedures was a penalty. Radio communications. Did we miss something along the way, maybe? Maybe we did. But we still passed. We got an A. 7,800 credits in the bank. So, yeah, I'll do some more missions tomorrow, hopefully. I don't know if I'll bother streaming them, because I can't imagine everybody wants to watch somebody trudging their way through missions. But when I get companies opened up, I'll do another stream showing that. So Chris is asking about putting the fuel in prior to flying. It appears to be a bug in the sim. Apparently Asobo know about it. So I think what's happening, from what other people have said, is that the aircraft are always starting with the same amount of fuel regardless of the journey length. So I've had some pretty close shaves with having to lean the engine out, you know, for enormous amounts. But yeah, it would be interesting, Rob, to see the Tobii settings. Even if I leave mine as it is, because I'm quite happy with it. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to call it an end there tonight, everybody, and I'll see you all again soon, I guess. Looking in here, it's not worth me going for any other certifications yet. There's an ATP license plus 40,000. Presumably you need to go and get a company to make serious money. So if I do another 3 or 4 missions, I'll have enough money for a company, I would imagine, from what people have said. So, reputation level, what does that mean? S is super, is it? And okay, so Chris is saying 25,000 will open the company, and a 172 for cargo freelance is the quickest route. Okay. Anyway, thanks for all the tips, everybody, about career mode. Like I said, you guys are way ahead of it. You know, way ahead of the curve compared to me with this. So, although I know how to operate the aeroplanes, the whole career mission structure has been a bit of a new experience for me. So it's been really good to hear all the tips from everybody along the way. And everybody's kind of pooled their knowledge. It's a really great resource. Anyway, have a good evening, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.